Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're just going to take you through a 1 year review, how we've been travelling in Thailand or Chiang Mai, and what we've come across during our time here, how we've felt just in general about everything we've actually encountered here.
Yes, and there's a lot of things that we have experienced that we didn't know that we would come across, which, so we just wanted to come on today, time for a 1 year review, because our channel is starting to take off and we have quite a few subscribers now, and we'd like to thank everyone for subscribing. And I'm sure you'll be wondering, what have we been doing, how have we found Chiang Mai, and so forth. So do we like Thailand and Chiang Mai?
Yeah, we do. Feels like home now. We've figured out the flow of the place. It's easy to navigate and get around. At first, it wasn't. It was difficult. It's like moving to any new town and you don't know it. Moving along, we can cover a few things. So, first thing, when we moved to Thailand, first thing we had to do was set up our banking. Contacted a company here called Thai Visa. They organised everything for us over the ensuing months. And all we had to do was turn up at the bank at an assigned time. We sat there, filled out the bank forms, and it was done. We left with our bank cards as well as the bank books, and we were up and running. There we then set up mobile phone plans, which are easy to do. It was quite simple. Walked into a company called AIS, which is one of the main providers here. We then got our mobile phone plans. They only cost us equivalent to Australian $12 a month, or 300 baht Australian every month. And that includes about 80 gig of data, which we never use, and 20 gig of that is at 5G. Internet plans, well, then we set that up. An internet plan, again, we set it up through AIS. There are other companies up here. I think there's one called True or something like that. We 599 baht a month. We took out a special deal to get that price. That's about $24 Australian. If you want to look up what it is, and just Google it in your own local currency, but to whatever currency you're dealing in, such as US dollars. It's 500 megabytes up and 500 megabytes down, which is quite fast. You can go to 1,000 up and 1,000 down plans, and I'm not sure of the price, but again, they're not that expensive, but 500 by 500 is plenty for us.
So when we did take out the AIS, I also purchased another mobile phone so that I could keep my Australian mobile phone number, so we could keep still in contact with people, or some family and friends in Australia.
A couple of $100 Australian off the top of my head, if I remember right, about 5,000 baht. We've found since that probably the cheapest way to make phone calls back to your home country is by we just use Skype, and we pay for we just load that up with a bit of funds, $10 Australian. We've been ringing on that for at least 2 or 3 months on both of our phones now. We've made several calls back to Australia. You know what it's like if you call your bank, you could be on hold for half an hour before someone answers your call.
We had a few experiences with that, and the reason why we went over to Skype was because we discontinued our mobile phone number in Australia, and we kept it so if we needed to ring our banks or do some business in Australia, we had our mobile phone number, but we discontinued that, and then we found out about the Skype calls. So you don't have to take out a plan with Skype or anything. You just download the app and you just go in there and you can just make a call. It's really easy and it's so cheap. I think if we'd known that in the beginning, we probably wouldn't have bought that other phone. We wouldn't have had a need. But the one thing is, I would recommend to anyone, if you do have you will have your Australian mobile phone number when you come here, no doubt. And before you just take that number, make sure that you change all your internet, and especially MyGov, because once you change your phone number, you can no longer access a lot of these apps and websites because they're linked to your mobile number, and you have to give your mobile number as a password. So that's something that we found out that's made it a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
Cost of living.
Yeah, cost of living. Well, we're really happy with the cost of living up here. The only thing that can be a little bit expensive in Thailand is the cost of power or electricity to your home. We found that to be a similar price, if not just slightly higher than the Australian price of power. So it's fluctuating. It's actually going down now, mainly because we're getting acclimatised, I think.
We haven't had the air conditioning on in the day as often. We're in the monsoon weather right now. Monsoon is no big deal. It's just a lot of rain. And the rain, there's no wind, there's hardly any storms. There's a little bit of thunder, but we're getting rain every day, either through the night, a little bit of showers through the day. But because we're getting a lot of rain, the temperatures are coming down.
Between 30, 33.
So we haven't had the air conditioning
Celsius
on downstairs because we have a high set at home. We haven't needed to have the air conditioning on as much through the day. We've had fans on, which is really nice. We had fly screens fitted to all the windows in the house.
Just at the start of the hot season,
yeah,
really.
before the hot season. So that way we could have the windows and doors, sliding doors, we've got all lots of sliding doors, so we could have them open. And we do get a lovely breeze through the house. So that has helped us to reduce our electricity cost.
Yeah.
And the other main electricity cost, I think, is the swimming pool. You know, the filter comes on through the day and night and whatever. Spending about $100 a week on power.
Yeah, I would say it would cost
thereabouts,
$100
maybe a little bit
Australian.
less some weeks, but on average maybe about $100. When we go out, we don't leave the air conditionings on, we turn them all off, and we find, because our house is high set, the lower areas keep cool. It's concrete, it's a block house,
Yeah.
and it tends to stay much cooler. You know, when we go out, when we come home, it's quite pleasant.
There is a noticeable difference. Come December, January, our power bill when we first moved into the house, and mind you, we were only pretty fresh to Thailand then, and we did use the air conditioners, but not having to use them so much at night, the price down to around $50 a week for power.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to the upcoming cooler months.
But it balances out, because even though our power is much the same as what it was in Australia, there are so many other things here that are much, much cheaper.
Yeah.
And it always weighs up, you know, it balances it out. I mean, we hardly pay anything. We pay about $8 a month for water. Western food is a little bit more expensive here in Thailand. I think most people are aware of that. There are a few shops, there's Tops, there's Rimpings and Lotus. Some specialty shops as well, like Greens, and they specialize in importing, you know, foods, international foods, English foods. And obviously they're more expensive. Anything that's imported into Thailand is going to cost you more money. And we do buy a little bit. I mean, we buy Vegemite, you know, we buy marmalade from Australia and so forth.
Yeah.
Processed foods are more expensive that are imported, and hair products as well are more expensive that come from overseas. But if you buy local, majority of local foods, it's way cheaper.
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
One of the big stores here that you'll find yourself gravitating to is a store called Macro. Macro has a huge range of grocery goods and even some sort of household things like maybe blenders and electrical goods and things like that. So we do shop a lot at Macro, and their meat prices are exceptionally good. We've found that things like, say, chicken breasts or pork fillet, pork is really big here, so the Thais eat a lot of pork, and it's super cheap. Like, you can buy a pork fillet here for around $4 a kilo. That's Australian again, or 100 baht Thai money. Also, we've found that Australian beef prices, we do like our steak and hamburger mince, things like that. We have found that the price per kilo here in Thailand to buy a big piece of like rump steak and then get them to chop it up at the butcher in Macro, works out about $16 a kilo Australian, whereas in Australia that's probably $30 a kilo.
And it's top quality beef.
Meat, oh, they're tender, very tender meat.
And I use it as steaks and beef strips and mince.
Yeah.
Because we buy it, they mince it up for you. So
and it's grass-fed meat too. It's not.
And obviously the vegetables here are so much cheaper.
Yeah.
I mean they are, and sometimes I buy at the local market down the road at the shopping area that's on. There's a market down there nearly every night, and the vegetables are so cheap. So I guess the cost of our grocery bill, everything included, including the Western bits and pieces and food that we buy, maybe it costs, and we go out a couple of times a week. We buy lunch or dinner, which costs us under $10 for a pad thai each, maybe a beer each, and an ice cream, which costs us about $10. We probably spend about $200 a week.
Yeah, like
the
two pad thai, they're quite big. The beers, 600ml beers, so that alone in Australia would cost you $10.
We're definitely eating out more since we've been here.
Yeah.
When we're in Australia on the Gold Coast, eating out is really expensive.
The value of house prices here are considerably lower than Australia, or probably parts of the United States are still pretty cheap. But here, what we found, because the house prices in Australia are super expensive, and one of the reasons why we're here in Thailand, really.
I think that's one of the main reasons why we came. We love the climate, we could go into that. We love the hot weather, it's not a problem. But the house prices are basically half.
Yeah.
Half to what we were paying in Australia.
Yeah, for the same for the same size home.
For the same type of quality home. Mind you, prices are going up in the year that we've been here, we've noticed that. So I think we got in just at the right time. But, prices of houses are going up and down in Australia anyway.
As well, yeah. The increase of value in the house price here is probably comparable to the time we've been out of Australia.
And there is a lot of building going on since we've been in our home, which we did purchase. We're not renting. We do own our own home outright. There are quite a few homes being built around us. There's about 3 or 4 new builds going up, and there's a land across the street down the road a bit here from where we are now. Only last week they cleared 2 blocks, and they're going to be putting up houses.
Yeah, they've already got it all set out with string lines.
Plus down the road there, they've got, I don't know how many pool villas are going up.
About 10 or 20.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of them in a big complex. So, and they're all different prices. You can pay, $3.5 million for a small 2-bedroom with maybe a small pool, and you can go way up to over 20 million plus for a mansion. And we probably will do some videos on houses. We haven't really done any, but we probably will, to show you more about what's available as in our area. And also rental properties are quite reasonable here. Obviously they're very cheap to rent.
If you're thinking of moving to Thailand, we know a little bit about having rented here ourselves for 3 months. The best way to find the rental that you're looking for is find a real estate agent, a reputable one that deals in rentals. We were lucky, we found Indigo Real Estate here in Chiang Mai. There's a lovely lady there, her name's Alice, and you can just Google Indigo Real Estate Chiang Mai, that'll come up, and contact Alice, and I'm sure she's more than happy to show you rentals, and they're fairly reasonably priced, and you can find something to suit your budget.
So we found Alice and Indigo Realty before we left Australia. We did a lot of research. We watched a lot of YouTube videos with other people, talking about Chiang Mai, living here. Obviously we did our research, and we found Alice, and we thought she seemed very genuine, and John contacted her. He actually called her up on the phone and let her know that we were coming here to live. And so we had already made that contact. So when we came here, we booked in at a hotel, and we booked that hotel before we left Australia. We booked 2 weeks.
Yeah. Just a shout out to, there's a guy, Ride with Gabby, he's another YouTuber. He stayed at the hotel, and we saw it and we thought, wow, that'll do us for a short term.
Well, it was reasonably priced.
About maybe $60-something a day to stay there, but we had a suite. It was located in Niman.
It was right in Niman, which we didn't realise at the time was quite the heart of the city area, where a lot of people go, tourist stay. It's got all the cafes, all the restaurants, all the spas and the nail bars and all that. So we were very lucky, and we could just walk around. We didn't have to get transport to go out and what have you. So we did plan all that before we came, although we realised we did the right thing. And there is a lot of rental properties, backpackers. It just depends on where you want to stay and what quality you're looking at.
Yeah, if you're into like Lorna just said, do your research. I put a lot of effort into it before we came here. We didn't just jump on a plane, wing it over to Thailand, and on the seat of our pants and think it was all going to work out. No, we didn't. I did make some phone calls. I rang Alice at Indigo. I rang Assist Thai Visa, spoke to them. I had things in place ready to go as soon as we arrived with them. I also contacted, we knew we were going to buy a Harley Davidson when we came here. I'd already contacted the Harley dealer and set up some contacts there, so we could just walk in the door. They know who we are, and we could go from there. Moving on from rental accommodation and just getting back to the house prices for a moment, or housing in general. If you were going to purchase a property here, you will have to do that. A lawyer here, or you can talk to like people at Assist Thai Visa. They'll point you in the right direction as far as that goes. You can't own the land here, but you can own the buildings, and there's different ways to go about that. Again, you need to talk to a professional here. We've mentioned that in our previous videos. And the reason why we purchased was because the local government property taxes, otherwise known as rates in Australia, they're super high in Australia. Like, for instance, we were paying nearly $6,000 a year in combined rates and water and sewage and so forth, your rubbish collection, and it was crazy. Here, I think our property tax bill for the year was about $15 Australian, to give you an idea, and that's a once a year charge. Our rubbish collection cost us a couple of thousand baht a year. And that's $80 a year for our rubbish collection, and it gets collected 3 times a week. Once you get used to Thai prices here for things, it's hard to go back to Western prices. We'd just like to end that here, part 1 of this. We're going to have to come back and do some more because we've got a lot of things to tell you about.
We'll wind it up now, and we will be making another video of this to continue on, because we have, like John said, we have a lot more things that we can talk about that we found out that you may not know. So thanks for watching. Please, please like, hit that little subscribe button, and look, it's free to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps us with the algorithms, with YouTube.
Helps your channel to grow.
It helps our channel to grow, and the more people that subscribe, then we're able to make better quality videos. And people find us. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. See you in the next one, and remember, just keep on keeping it real. Kapkum Ka.
Kapkum Ka.
Goodbye.
Bye.